sleepfam.news.
Welcome to the Sleep Summit Show, where we uncover bold ideas with innovators, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders making waves in the sleep industry. With your host, Mark Kinsley.
He's the new president and chief operating officer of Ergomotion, the largest adjustable base manufacturer in the world. It's truly a story about living the American dream. And it started when this little Brazilian boy learned to speak English in Mexico. My friend Gui Peres is here, and the Sleep Summit Show begins right now.
If I won't have it in my house, I won't deliver it to yours. I truly live by that. The Englander collection fits in perfect with that. It's one of the best products, mattress-wise, that I have sold. My $2,000 Englander is somebody's $5,000 bed in another retail store. To any retailer out there, you should really look at Englander and get them on the floor today.
Learn more and get started today at englander.com.
Gui Peres, I feel so happy and so proud of you as a friend. Congratulations on your new role as the president and chief operating officer of Ergomotion. Such an incredible company. Talk to us about who you are in this new role for the people who haven't met you.
Well, thank you for having me here today, Mark. It's a pleasure, and thank you for the kind words. Well, I'm Gui Peres. For those who don't know me, I have been with Ergomotion for 15 years, and as you said, my story is the classic story of an immigrant that made it in the United States. The American dream is live and well. So yeah, I joined Ergo 15 years ago when it was still a startup. I was employee number 6 or 7, and the company was small. We were barely making payroll, but I wanted to come live in the United States, and that was a good opportunity for me to move to of all places, Santa Barbara, California, and I had a beautiful trajectory along the way with Ergomotion. Worked my way through sales, international sales, U.S. sales. Recently, I was put in charge of the wellness division, which is a consumer brand specific division that we created 2 brands. One of them is Ergo Sportive, and the other one is Dawn House. And then just recently, I was invited to be the acting president, COO of the company. So that's been my professional journey with Ergomotion.
And it's been a remarkable journey. I remember the first time I met you, it was at a conference, and we were walking down this pathway together. And I didn't really know if you were in the mattress industry or if there was another conference going on. And we ended up crossing paths, I think, and seeing similar badges. And we've just stayed in touch since then and have become friends. And it's been remarkable to watch your journey and your professional development in this industry. And now, taking the reins at Ergomotion. What a big story. Okay, we're going to get into a deep dive about the adjustable base industry, Ergomotion, its global footprint, your plans for the future, where you're thinking about taking things. But first, here on the Sleep Summit Show, we got a couple of things we got to get in order. Number one is we are going to find out in this episode, where is the strangest place Gui Peres has ever slept? Okay, so that's coming up. And also, we always start with a quiz question. So I thought today we would start with a quiz question on our Sleep Summit quiz about adjustable bases. So for all of you mattress and sleep industry nerds out there, this is going to be a good one because we're talking about attachment rates. So what is the estimated attachment rate right now in the US market for adjustable bases? And Gui, for people who don't know, tell them what an attachment rate is.
Well, attachment rate is basically how many mattresses are being sold with an adjustable bed as a percentage.
As a percentage. And so we talk about attachment rates in relation to adjustable bases. So if a mattress is sold, what percentage of the time is an adjustable base being sold? And sometimes we talk about attachment rates for accessories and other products. So we'll answer that coming up. And we've got a little more detail around it because not only are we going to tell you what is the attachment rate estimated to be right now in the US market, we're going to talk about what was the highest attachment rate Gui has ever seen in any country by any company in any year. Now, I don't even know this answer yet, so I'm excited to hear more about it. But Gui, let's go back to what we said in the very, very beginning of the show. And let's talk about your journey and your story, because you grew up in Brazil and you became a student, an exchange student in North Carolina, and you speak incredibly perfect English. I can barely pick up an accent, but you, this Brazilian kid who speaks Portuguese, learned to speak English in Mexico. There's got to be a story there.
Yeah, so I was born in Brazil. I'm Brazilian by birth. My family's still all in Brazil. Just my wife and kids that are here with me now in the United States, in Santa Barbara, California. Uh, so when I was 5 years old, my dad's job transferred him to Mexico City, and this was back in the '80s. I was born in the early '80s, and it was before internet, and it was a very exotic place for a Brazilian to move to. It was Mexico, even though it doesn't sound like that too much today, but it was extremely exotic. Might as well have moved to China or Malaysia or something, and getting there, my parents put my sister and I in an international school, which was mainly in English, but also in Spanish. And that's where I learned English. And then during recess, playing with my peer Mexican uh, classmates, I learned Spanish, but in class, everything was in English. So I don't know if there's many people out there that can say that they learned how to speak English in Mexico. So that's pretty cool.
What was your dad's job that took him to Mexico?
My dad actually was always in sales and as a sales manager roles, sales director roles, and he was working for an American company at the time called Dun and Bradstreet. They're still around today, and Dun and Bradstreet transferred him to Mexico City to oversee actually the Mexican operation there. And we got to live there for 3 years, and it was an incredible time. I lived there from 5 to almost 9 years old. And to this day, I'm very fond of Mexico. I go there as often as I can, and I speak the language, and I have a great fondness for Mexico.
Okay, so how many languages do you speak? You speak English, you speak Portuguese, you speak Spanish. Is there
Yes,
more?
those are the three I speak, and I studied uh, French and Japanese in high school, and I can get by a little bit when I visit Japan. I know how to order food in Japan and in France.
Well, that's on my list coming up. I'm going to Paris in May, and I'm going to be working as much as I can to get beyond bonjour, au revoir, and ça va,
Ça va.
ça va. And then put wine and beer on the list, and I should be good to go, right?
That's it. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, Guy, I got to ask you. Your mom's name is Regina, and she still lives in Brazil. Is she in Sao Paulo?
Yeah, São Paulo. That's where I'm from originally. Yeah.
What are the conversations like between you and your mom when you call home, especially since she's seen your journey and now you've taken over this incredible role at Ergomotion? What are those conversations like between you and your mom if we were a fly on the wall?
Mhm. So my mom is someone I really admire. She's a trooper. She has a really interesting story too. My dad passed away, so she's a widow, and she's one of my mentors. I still call her. Obviously, I have to call my mom to be a good son, right? But I still call her to pick her brain on things, on life, things that are going on at the company. I'll share with her, and she gives me her advice. And Yeah, so we're close, I guess to answer your question is she's one of my mentors for sure.
Give me something specific there to chew on. So you call mom and ask her advice about business, about raising kids. What kind of things does she tell you? What are some of those nuggets of wisdom that you hang on to that she's given you?
You know, kids for sure because she has experience in that. And she's an educator and a psychologist, so there's that dynamic as well. But when it comes to work, it's usually about handling people and how to deal with people and issues that you may have with staff, and um, so yeah, that's the kind of stuff I talk to her about.
If you're new to this industry, Guy's been around 15 years with Ergomotion, and Guy, the last role you had was with getting this division started with Dawn House Living. And talk to us about that a little bit, because you and I have had plenty of conversations behind the scenes about what's happening in the world here in the United States, especially with 10,000 people a day turning 65 years old. We're talking about moms here. People are putting their their moms in places where they can age successfully and age gracefully, and that's a common thing that's happening. What's your view on where the world is heading, at least here in the U.S. market, since having been in that role with Don House Living and getting that division started for Ergomotion?
Hmm. Uh, yeah, so Jack Tang, the owner of the company, our proprietor is a gentleman called Jack Tang. He owns a large Chinese company called Kisan, which Ergomotion is a part of. We're actually a big part of Kisan. A lot of people in the industry knows Jack because he was involved with Leggett and Platt for many years. So Jack had a vision of helping elderly people, and so Kisan developed a sensor that is like a health of vitals vital sensor that senses your vitals, your heart rate, your breathing rate. And he came to me 3 years ago and said, "Guy, we need to deploy this in the U.S. market. We're already doing it in the Asian market. Here's a sensor. Go do something with it." And from that, Don House was born. So I started focusing. I was the U.S. VP of sales at the time for Ergomotion, but I completely changed my role to run this new project, this new division. We called it the Wellness Division, and we created Don House from it. We came up with the brand, we came up with the product. I hired a team of people that some of them hailed from the senior living industry because it was a product that was going to be catered specifically to seniors and their changing needs. So Don House was born. It's a beautiful product. If you want to check it out, donhouseliving.com. It's a consumer direct product as well, but we do carry it with some mattress retailer partners that we have, and it's still in its initial phase and the kind of a startup phase. It's a 2-year-old project, but that's picking up momentum, and it's beautiful to see it being deployed and being used by the target population we had it meant for, which is senior citizens going through needs, changing needs, and getting feedback that they love the bed. The bed has high low. It has a support rail you can hold on to when you get in and out of bed. The smart system, which is the most important part of the bed, in my opinion, is helps to give not only the user but the adult child or the care provider some peace of mind, because you can get a daily report of how they're doing health wise and sleep wise. And from there, we're going to grow what it does, but that's where we are with it today.
I read that 1 in 5 people in the United States count themselves as a caregiver. It's 20% of people. And so it's a significant number of people that are helping others, helping loved ones. And then, of course, according to AARP, 90% of people want to age in place. They want to stay home. They want to sleep safely at home. So I think this category for the furniture and mattress industry, especially on the retail side, is wildly underserved, especially whenever you go out and you look at what does it take to get something that would mirror the properties of a hospital bed, or even get a hospital bed into someone's home so that they have the right equipment for those changing needs. Because I think when you are a senior, that's kind of one of the key points is your needs may be the same, up until they're not. And then you may need specialized equipment in the home. And then you may go back to where it was before. So I'm sure you saw this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. Well, yeah, people want to age in place. That is a huge trend, and I don't blame them. Like I'm assuming I will want to do the same once I get there. But it's interesting how adjustable beds. When I started with Ergomotion back in 2007, adjustable beds were still seen as like for lack of a better term, it's what they call is like a grandma bed. It's a bed you buy for grandma. It's a twin long, right, sitting in the corner of the store. And we worked so hard. Our former COO, Johnny Grigs, who's been a wonderful person and an influence in my professional career, he came into Ergomotion to help us. At the time, it was basically Ergomotion, Reverie, and Leggett and Platt that had big chunk of the market, most of the market. So the three of us really together, we changed the market into, this is not just a product for the aging population, it's a product for everyone, right? So, and we did such a good job at that it became a mainstream product. And it's interesting, so how now, going back, forward 15 years, we're now having to go back and say, hey, this is a product also for those who are aging and have the changing needs with age.
Gosh, that shift is real and it's seismic. Going from people just thinking about this in a singular dimension of hospital style needs to, like you said, Leggett, Reverie, Ergomotion, leading the charge within in the industry to make it a product that was about lifestyle and about quality of life. And I think we're going to see that in the numbers that you're going to report, because we do have the Sleep Summit quiz question where it's going to be, what is the attachment rate? So we'll see if anybody's surprised by that. And beyond the senior aging in place demographic and that use case, you've also got the Ergo Sportive division, which is on your shirt right there. Talk to us about that, because I know that you are actually going to show some of your products in Cologne, Germany at the FIBO Global Fitness Exhibition. So this is a fitness product as well.
Yes, it is. Ergo Sportive was born in Europe. We have a European division of Ergomotion, which I may or may not have had something to do with the implementation of that division back when I managed international sales for the company. And they actually partnered with Garmin. Garmin is a company from, I believe, Kansas City, but they have a huge R&D center in Germany. So the Ergo EU folks got in touch with them, and they co-developed a system that is the smart system, very similar to what we have at Dawn House, the same sensors, the same technology, but it connects to your Garmin. I'm actually wearing a Garmin device now. So the Garmin device tracks your activity during the day, how many steps you took, how stressed you are, your body battery, which is kind of like a calculation they do of how much energy you have left. And that information is communicated with the bed at night, so that the bed can help what I call behavioral nudge you into better sleep and recovery. So if, let's say, you ran, a 10K or you worked out really hard that day, the bed will know because the watch is talking to the bed. So it'll prompt you to maybe go to sleep a little bit earlier, or go through a relaxation cycle before you go to sleep, or maybe stay in bed a little bit later that day, depending on how much physical activity you've done. And that's just the beginning of it. Obviously, we offer a very comfortable mattress and pillow that's also catered to active people. So yeah, that's an exciting project as well. I'm a relatively active person, so I personally also have a big passion for that project.
That's incredible to think about daytime tracking, exertion or lack thereof, and then your bed responding to the information and the data and the signals that it's been given from that daytime activity. That is really thoughtful. How long did it take Ergomotion to come up with a market-ready product on that, or was there a minimum viable product that launched first and got better?
That's a great question. The sensors we've been working on the sensors for almost 10 years. So where the sensor is today, it took us 10 years to get. The algorithms and the software behind it, probably similar, 10 years. So yeah, it's been a long time in making, but the physical product for Dawn House and for Ergo Sportive, it was developed in the last couple of years.
It just shows you how long it takes to actually get this technology and the algorithms harnessed into real world application. When you look at that 10-year lifespan, I mean, gosh, that's 2/3 of what you've been at Ergomotion. So you've been there 15 years. It's a 10-year project, ultimately all in, maybe it was inside the walls of Ergo or not, but here we are today with Ergo Sportive working in concert with Garmin. And when you look at the future of where Ergo is going and the technology needs and real world application that's going to be useful to people, to sleepers that are trying to get a better night's rest or trying to recover, what are some of the things you're working on right now that you have your eye on that could have an impact or could end up in Ergomotion style products?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to see Ergomotion innovation, and this is what I want to make sure we continue to offer the market. I like to see Ergomotion as an industry leader, as a pioneer in adjustable bed innovations. So there's two components to it that we focus on, right? There's like more on the mechanical side, and then on the technology side. The technology side being most of what I've just been explaining, the sensors and the heart rate tracking and the sleep score and the behavioral nudging. That's newer. Obviously, we've been and Ergo Sportive and Dawn House have been the tip of the spear for that, to open that market. So that's newer, and we're going to continue to grow that. That's going to continue to be an important part of what we do. Um, on the mechanical side, Ergomotion has always been very innovative in coming up with new concepts mechanically. I'll give you two examples. We were the first, at least in North America. I don't remember seeing it anywhere outside, and I've been doing the international shows for many years. I don't remember seeing it outside the United States. Definitely not in the United States. We were the first to come up with what we called at the time the KD bed, the knockdown bed. The interesting story is we started selling in Japan back in 2010, I think it was, and the bigger size beds, like they're equivalent to a queen size, they couldn't. Sometimes it wouldn't fit in the elevators because if you've ever been to Japan, the elevators are tiny usually in Japan, so they couldn't fit the bed in the elevator. And they called us and they asked us, "Can you have a bed that comes in two boxes?" And that was a crazy idea. I said, "Two boxes? How are we ever going to do that?" But our designer at the time figured it out. We did it, and that's how the KD was born. And then the rest is history. Now, so many beds are KD, foldable, come in two boxes. So that doesn't necessarily affect your sleep as much as it affects the ease of delivery, which will affect your sleep because now many people can have an adjustable bed and enjoy the benefits of an adjustable bed because now you can actually get it delivered to your small apartment. We go through that in places like New England, New York, that hallways are straight, are not wide enough, and elevators are small. So that's one example. The other one is we start off with bulky adjustable beds. We started getting requests to make the beds thinner. So we got all the way down to about 3 inches. We have 3-inch adjustable beds that we pioneered on. Now there's a lot of them out there as well. But so we like to be the industry leading, resource of adjustable beds when it comes to the mechanical side and the technology side as well.
The technology side is very fascinating for people to follow the mattress industry because it really seems to be about the only vehicle for getting technology into the bedroom besides wearables and phones and additions that go outside of the core sleep system. But when you think about the bed frame, the box spring, the mattress, that's being consolidated and the technology is being inserted into the bedroom through the adjustable base. And that seems to be the trend. What do you think it is about the adjustable base versus putting some of those items and that technology in a mattress? Why do you think that's taken hold and been more sticky?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to preface this by saying that there's nothing wrong with putting technology on the mattress, but as adjustable bed, our core business is adjustable beds. We don't really do mattresses. We serve the mattress industry, so we had to figure out how to do it on the adjustable, which turned out to be a great platform for it, because then the consumer gets to choose whatever mattress they want, right? If they want a thick mattress, a firm, soft, whatever, they get to choose, and the technology is on the base. The beautiful thing about, let's talk specifically about the technology we have. The beautiful thing about what we have with the sensors is that first of all, you don't have to wear anything. So a lot of people don't like wearing a device to bed. A lot of people don't want devices in their bedroom at night. Like I personally don't sleep with a phone in my bedroom. I keep it literally in another room. Actually, this one right here, my home office. I leave my phone here, and my bedroom is my sanctuary for rest. So you walk into your bedroom, you lay down in bed. The sensors are on the adjustable base. They start working immediately. You don't have to turn on anything. Remember to turn on anything. So that's what makes it convenient and a great platform to have the technology in. The product, like the Dawn House bed, has underbed lights that are automatic. When you step off of the mattress at night to go to the bathroom or whatever you need to do at night, it turns on automatically. That's a great platform to have your technology in. And then you have some countries like Germany. They're very sensitive with electronic equipment in the bedroom. So again, if you minimize it and put it under the base, it's a great vehicle for it.
The technology aspect, the mechanical aspect. I know Ergomotion being the largest player is innovating in those spaces. And I'm always looking forward to your shows in Las Vegas because it truly is a new experience. It seems like every time with some sort of new rollout or new technology that creates excitement around sleep. And to me, I think Ergomotion does a very good job of not just adding technology for the sake of adding technology, but doing it in a way that makes it passively accessible. So if somebody's not thinking about it, somebody's not having to plug anything in or wear anything, which I think is probably one of the best ways to gather the data that can be meaningful to the sleeper. But also it's technology that can be truly helpful, whether it's the Dawn House bed that can tell if your loved one, mom and dad, whoever it might be, is getting out of bed too much or might have gotten out of bed, is sleeping well, is sleeping poorly. That's important information, all the way through to what you described with Garmin, with being able to look at your Garmin data and provide your bed with those inputs so that it can perform the way you need it to for rest and recovery. I just think there's a lot of technology for the sake of technology in some industries, and I think Ergo does a great job with that. Let's keep going with the future and the vision for Ergo. You as the new president and COO, Guy, what's your vision for Ergo? Where are you going to take things? What kind of an impact do you want to have?
Hmm. Uh, well, of course, we want to continue to lead the adjustable bed industry with technologies both on the mechanical and the smart side, for sure. Um, but one of the things I want to make sure we do too is work with like-minded industry professionals like you, Mark, that will take our category, our mattress adjustable bed, even top of the bed category to the next level. I think we have brilliant minds in our industry. We have brilliant companies working out there, and if we all work together to elevate our category, right, and not to have the race to the bottom. And there's always a place for the lower priced, high velocity products, but we have to focus on increasing the value as well. So that's one of the things that I really want to focus on going forward over the next 5 years, because there's a great side for that the adjustable bed attachment rate went up so much, which we'll get to towards the end, right? It went up quite a bit, but obviously with that came a lot of competition, came a lot of high velocity, low priced products, which is natural. But we can't focus just on that product category. We have to bring the higher value to the customer as well.
That's 100% true. And I think a lot of the excitement, like I said before, is being driven by the adjustable base category. And I think that's a great way to bring people back into the conversation and build value in the entire sleep system and not just in one part or piece of it. Hey, take me into some of your favorite stories about Johnny Grigg. Johnny, in the industry for a long time, a mentor of yours. You
Yes.
smiled when I said his name.
Yeah, of course. Johnny means a lot to me. Johnny and I started working together in 2008. I started with the company, and he came on about 6 months, maybe a little bit less than 6 months after I started. Well, so a story I always tell is Alain and Kelly, who were the original owners of Ergomotion. They were father and son, great people. They they flew in Johnny and his partner in crime in the industry, Paul Smith. They flew them into Santa Barbara to interview them, and I was a part of that interview. And at the time, Ergomotion in 2008, our revenues were, I don't know, like 3 million, 4 million. We were very little, and Johnny during the interview said, "I don't see why we couldn't take this company to 100 million." And I said, 100 million, man, that's okay. All right. That's crazy, but sure. And you know what? We did. It didn't take us that long after Johnny and Paul joined us. And what it was is Johnny told us that we had to focus on what he always called the OEMs, which is the mattress manufacturers. So we partnered with Serta at the time, then Simmons when they used to be separate, and then eventually Tempur, Sealy, and a few other ones that really have become our core business. So anyway, so Johnny was the one that came up with that with that idea, that a strategy for us, which has been our strategy, long running strategy. But another interesting fact about Johnny is that he likes to refer to adjustable beds as bendy beds. So I'm not going to steal that from him. I'm going to leave that as his term, but I always will remember him talking about the bendy beds.
The bendy beds. I have a friend and a customer of Englanders that they sell a lot of adjustable bases, bendy beds, and they refer to it as a category within their store, and they call it the game changer.
Mhm.
And so they don't even talk about adjustable bases. They don't make distinctions between the models because, consumer confusion can be a real problem. If somebody is, nearing the end of the mattress purchase and then they're trying to take them into all the different features and benefits of an adjustable base, which are great and I love them. But they just said, "Hey, you have the mattress. Do you want a game changer?" Oh, that's the thing that I felt, right? Yeah. My friend says it's always great when you have like an 80-year-old woman walk up to you and say, "I want the game changer."
Yes, it is a game.
It is a game changer.
Working with adjustables, it's fun because I honestly, I've never had anyone say that once a customer walks in the store, and I've seen it many times, lays down on the flat mattress, and then you surprise them by adjusting the head up, the foot up. They never dislike it. It's always a pleasant surprise. So it's an easy product to sell in that sense. So yeah, it's a game changing product for sure.
The game changer. I always show people, I'll stand up similar to how an astronaut looks in zero gravity space. And I'll
Mhm.
say, when you remove tension from a body, and that only happens whenever you remove gravity, what is the natural position that your hands and your knees and your legs go into? And when you demonstrate that, people are like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen somebody in space. I know how that looks." And then they can translate that to how it feels whenever you are able to put your body in the proper position using an adjustable base and keep
Mhm.
it there.
Correct. Yeah. That's it. You would be a great adjustable bed salesman for us, Mark. You got
Well, selling bendy beds with Johnny Grigg, it sounds like it's been a lot of fun, and I know you and your team are going to have a blast. Continuing to pioneer in this industry and make an impact. And like I said, I'm proud of you. I'm so excited for Ergomotion, your shareholders, your employees, your customers, and the future that's out there. And I got to give a big shout out to Johnny Grigg for all that he's done in this industry and for his years of service and dedication and passion. And I bet you really, Guy, if you get down to it, you've got some really funny stories as well. Are you just keeping them to yourself? Come on, you got to tell on Johnny a little bit.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I was trying to be a good boy by just using the bendy bed story. But yeah, we do have some funny stories. This we did some fun things together, Johnny and I. This one time, back in Ergomotion during the original owners, when okay, so here's some facts about Ergomotion. When we were owned by the former owners, Ergomotion was more of like a madman kind of days. Like we used to party a lot, and there was a lot of things that probably wouldn't happen today anymore. But anyway, so those were fun days, and Johnny and I did travel a lot together, and we went to Japan once, and we had a lot of fun in Japan. We went there to visit a customer, and I just have fun memories of that trip of Johnny. And I imagine like a full on Texan in Tokyo with me. So you can imagine how funny that was. so so that was a good time. Yeah.
Hey, man, that might be the name. Since you're going to retire, Johnny, maybe the name of your book can be Texan in Tokyo.
Texan in Tokyo. Yeah, that would sell for sure.
Well, it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun, and I know you're going to have a lot on your plate as you think about the future of Ergomotion and get there. And we're excited for you, Guy, and we'll have you back on the Sleep Summit show at some point to talk about the product innovations, new product launches as you head into Vegas markets. I always like to touch base with Ergo and get as many people to come to your showroom as possible to see some of the fun new products that really do inspire the consumers who are looking for better sleep. And but hey, now's the time though. Now's the time for the question that everybody's been waiting for. Where is the strangest place that Guy Perez has ever slept?
Mm, mm. Well, the place I like to sleep the least in is in a tent camping because my kids are at an age they like to camp. So, but that's not the question. Uh, the strangest place I've ever slept. It actually happened just recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went on a field trip with my daughter. She's 10 years old. She's in fifth grade, and I was chaperoning one of her field trips. And we slept at the port of Long Beach here in California. They have a battleship called the USS Iowa, and we spent the night in the battleship. And it was incredible. It was amazing. It was like a 1940 World War II era battleship, and the bunk beds, the bunk beds you see in movies and things like that they slept in, 3 high, and you only had about maybe 30 inches clearance between you and the top bunk. So it was a little bit claustrophobic, but it was definitely the strangest place I've ever slept in.
Was that just you and your daughter in your own bunk, or was there a bunkhouse full of people?
Well, it was boys and girls were separate, but yeah, it was her entire class. So it was me and a few other dads that were chaperoning with the boys, and then her and some moms with the girls. Yeah.
I took a group of kids. So my wife was a teacher of a private homeschool pod whenever COVID had shut so many schools down. And so once things started to open up, they did another year of school, and I took the chaperoning duties for 3 boys to space camp. And so as their camp counselor, we slept in these very tight quarters that are kind of supposed to represent what it would be like to be in a space station. And I just remember, I'm an adult, I'm a man, and these facilities are not necessarily built for people my size, I don't think. And at one time I went into the bathroom and I turned around, and it was so like everything was so tight. I had my glasses on, and boom, just right into the toilet. And I could barely like maneuver to get but I go back and I tell the little boys what had happened, and they just lost their minds. It was the funniest thing they'd ever heard, because Mr. Mark dropped his glasses in the toilet. But I'm sure the accommodations were similar on the battleship.
It was very, very tight, very tight, and it makes you appreciate what these guys go through, in open waters and these tight quarters, and everything is tight on the boat. They had like 2,700 people living at that boat at some point. It's crazy. So yeah, thank you to the armed forces for everything you guys do for us.
Absolutely, man. Isn't it? It does make you realize how difficult that is. And we talk about sleep, and we talk about trying to get a good night's sleep. Man, might be tough when you feel claustrophobic. Hey, let's get facts and stats here. Okay, our Sleep Summit quiz question of the day is: what is the estimated attachment rate right now in the U.S. market? And Guy, you have the answer.
Yes. So to our best ability of estimating it, it's right around 15%. So about 15% of mattresses sold in America today are sold with an adjustable bed. When I started back in the days when Johnny was telling us we could do 100 million in sales, it was well below 1%. So we've come a long way.
From 1 to 15% is the estimated attachment rate in the U.S. Now, the second part of that question, which I think is a really fun piece, is what was the highest? Not that it's not fun, by the way, to 15x the attachment rate in the marketplace. That's really fun as well. But what was the highest attachment rate, Guy, that you've ever seen in any country, any company, any year?
Well, I know an honorable mention is Doc V with Miss Kelly's. They have a huge attachment rate. I don't know, 80%, 70%. They do a really good job with their attachment rates. Thank you, Doc V, as always. But the craziest one I've ever heard of, as I said, attachment rate is a percentage, right? So you think of from 0 to 100%. I actually have a customer that at a point they were at 110% attachment rate. And you go, how does that even work? Well, they were selling every single mattress they had with an adjustable, and they were selling adjustables by themselves. So so we counted that as 110%. So they were selling more adjustables than mattresses, and that was a customer in New Zealand of all places. Yeah.
In New Zealand, what were they doing to position the product in such a way that everybody was buying an adjustable base with the mattress?
They were doing just a really good job at advertising it, and I think they found a good niche with the mattress they carried. It was a very high quality mattress, and the customers walking into their stores, I think, were very highly qualified.
So the saying, give it 110%, that actually is a real thing. You can give it 110%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And also in Denmark, I know in Denmark specifically, they have very high adjustable bed rates. attachment rates. So yeah, it's possible. So we can go from 15 to 90. We'll get there.
Well, and I just recently took a trip to India, as you know, and the adjustable base market there is very underdeveloped. Of course, I've got a bunch of LinkedIn videos up that I did while in India to explore the mattress market there, and it was fascinating because many in a developing nation like that, many people are moving from some sort of a pallet on the floor to their first mattress, and so the beds are very firm because body types are used to that. Custom size mattresses drive the entire market. Kurlan, our international partners, they have 9,000 mattress sizes that they make. So everything is pretty much cropped and cut and finished and fit in a custom fashion. And the model is you come into the store. First of all, you build the furniture to fit the room because space is at a premium. It's very limited. And then, so when it's time to get a mattress, you go find your firmness, find your feel. And then the sales associate or somebody from the factory comes out and they measure. And then the order is then submitted to the factory and they custom cut it. All the foams, all the coir, which is coconut husk, everything is custom finished. And so that makes it very tough in an emerging market like that. The buying power is limited, but also you don't have like a standard size adjustable base that you could sell with a standard size mattress. And then on top of that, most of that furniture that's built has storage. So you would have to have an adjustable base that goes on top of a platform bed. So pretty much it would be an adjustable base that adjusts in length and width as well. And you might be able to tap into that market. But there's one that as buying power increases, and it is in India, if we could get the mattresses to be a little less firm or perforated in some way so they could bend, there's another big market for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are exciting markets, right? Like the market I come from Brazil, India, China, where people not only are they buying more mattresses, they've as you said, they've never slept on a mattress before. Many of them, so it's an exciting opportunity for sure.
Well, and I know you've got an exciting opportunity in front of you with Ergomotion and building your team and providing this fresh vision and new direction. And Guy, once again, thank you for being here on the Sleep Summit show. Thank you for your friendship and best wishes as you start this new adventure.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your friendship.